The life and crimes of Catherine Wilson cast a disturbing shadow over Victorian England, not because of sudden brutality, but because of the quiet intimacy through which she killed. Employed as a nurse and housekeeper, Wilson entered homes as a figure of reassurance. Yet beneath this facade lay a calculated method of murder. She administered colchicum, a plant-derived poison capable of producing prolonged suffering that resembled natural illness. Over years of service, several employers died in circumstances that later appeared suspicious. In more than one case, Wilson had secured financial benefit through altered wills or gifts. The murders were subtle, slow, and rooted in trust, making them all the more unsettling to a society that valued domestic order and moral respectability. The turning point came with the poisoning of Thomas Briggs, whose death in 1862 finally prompted serious investigation. Wilson was arrested and brought to trial, but her first appearance in court ended inconclusively when the jury could not agree on a verdict. This deadlocked trial prolonged public fascination and anxiety. Newspapers speculated about her past, drawing connections between her and earlier unexplained deaths. While debates raged over the difficulty of proving poisoning without unequivocal physical evidence, Wilson herself remained composed, projecting innocence and restraint, a contrast that complicated the prosecution's attempt to frame her as a calculating killer. A second trial followed, more focused and better supported by expert testimony. Medical witnesses detailed the effects of colchicum poisoning, and the prosecution presented clearer evidence of motive, including financial manipulation, and the suspicious pattern of deaths surrounding Wilson's employment. This time the jury returned a guilty verdict. Despite conviction, she continued to protest her innocence, a stance she maintained through sentencing and imprisonment, reinforcing her ambiguous public image as either a cold strategist or a victim of circumstantial interpretation. In 1863, Wilson was executed by hanging at Newgate Prison, an event that drew large crowds and intense attention. Her death marked a historical milestone. She became the last woman to be publicly executed in the country. Observers remarked on her calm demeanor in her final moments, a composure that echoed the quiet control attributed to her crimes. The spectacle of execution, both punishment and public theater, stood in stark contrast to the secrecy of her alleged murders, closing her story in a dramatic display of justice intended to reassure a shaken public. Today, Wilson's case endures as a chilling example of Victorian anxieties about trust, domesticity, and hidden violence. Her suspected string of poisonings, the uncertainty and tension surrounding two trials, and the symbolic weight of her public execution have ensured her place in criminal history, not merely as a murderer, but as a figure who embodied the fear that danger could exist in the most familiar and trusted spaces.